As you're probably aware, we have moved to online for the rest of the semester. So not a lot has changed for health psych. I've moved some topics around. I've updated the syllabus, and I've updated the reading checks on Brightspace to reflect when we are now going to encounter new topics. For the next week or so, nothing much has changed. The quiz is just going to be online. It's going to be the same kind of stuff that you've seen before, just online. So multiple choice, short answer, and timed. It'll be 50 minutes to do that. So I'm just going to say it's going to be open book, open note, but it's timed, so you just can't look up every single thing. Just be aware of that. So today's topic is on exercise. So, yeah. I was actually gonna have us exercise just a little bit in class. But you're welcome to do that on your own. I'm not gonna say, all right, everybody up and let's do 10 jumping jacks. Yay. Yeah, I'm not about to do that. So so here we go. This is perhaps my favoritist video clip PSA ever. And you may be familiar with the NFL Play 60 campaign. You may not if you don't watch a ton of football. But Cam Newton, who is pretty much no longer a Carolina Panther, when he was just getting started in the league, he he was pretty, I guess, active in his promotional activities, and so he did this really funny thing from the NFL. Now, fair warning, I'm going to play this, and when I upload it to YouTube, it's probably going to get flagged for copyright, so this may not ever appear. I might have to I might have to cut this part from the YouTube video, but you know what? Oh well. You know, so let's just play. Let's just play and have fun, and, you know, the NFL can claim their copyright, whatever.
Hey, Cam, thanks a lot for coming to my school today.
No problem, Nate.
I promise to exercise and eat right.
Don't forget 60 minutes of play a day, right?
And I'll grow up to be big and strong like you.
Absolutely.
And play in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
And be drafted #1.
Maybe.
Become the starting quarterback of the Panthers.
Okay.
You can be my backup.
Excuse me?
And make Panthers fans forget about you. And become your mom's favorite player.
Whoa.
I'm just loosening my arm.
It's so good. And be your mom's favorite player. Whoa. I love it. Oh, I friggin' love it. Okay.
Hey, Cam, thanks for...
Oh. All right, we're going to start off with a couple of polls here. I'm just curious to find out. Does anybody feel, are there any ill effects going on? Because there was a, my bit rate shot up like crazy. It was too much. Everything good from your end, everyone? That's the first time my bit rate shot up like crazy, and it was like, no, too much, dog. Yeah, so anyways, go ahead and jump into this one. And let me know in chat if there was any issues with the video or the stream, please. This should be active. Yeah, active. Go ahead. Get around, I get around. The video kept pausing a lot? Okay. Alright. Jaden, you were all good? Alright. I'm not sure. That was, kept pausing. It was lagging. Kept pausing. Okay. So, interesting. learned something new today, that if you have too high of a bit rate, that's not good. Interesting. Slightly annoying. The recording should be good, so if you want to watch the Play 60 again, then, yeah. I'm not entirely sure what was going on with that. Alright. Buffering. Yeah. Okay. Oops. No. Wait, what happened? What happened? There we go. There it is. Can everyone see moi? Am yeah, everything, yeah, that was really high there. Oh my goodness. What? Yo, dog. It's not very nice. It's not very nice. All right. Cool. 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 Let's go. Let's go. I want to see what everyone's saying. Thank you. Poll everywhere. You're being... Okay, good. We're all good. All right. Ha 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 ha. Stream fun. Extreme fun is what we're having. Okay. Maybe it's server-side issues. All right. Hey, Braden, welcome. Okay, so I am glad that this is 100% right now. That's not bad. That's pretty good. I like that. So moderate intensity physical activity for at least 30 minutes, 5 out of the 7 days of the week, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity. So we'll talk about the demarcations between what is moderate and what is vigorous activity throughout the got cut off, I think. Got cut off, but you got it. All right, here's the next one. So for those of you, for all of you who said that you do exercise, what is the primary reason you do exercise? And then, well, that doesn't track. I saw no no's, so I don't know how that's possible. So for those of you who do choose A through D, in chat, go ahead and let me know what activity you tend to do to exercise. So as you make your selection, go ahead and let the group know what form of exercise you do participate in. Whether that be like running, jumping, archery, running, weightlifting, boxing, walking, soccer, yeah, Aaliyah, soccer, so some sports, and kind of, what are you doing now? To exercise while we're sort of all told to stay at home? Basketball, hopefully by yourself, Jaden, at least right now. Yoga, yeah, yoga. Weightlifting, taking a simple walk, very good. Walking or jogging. Okay. Walks. Physical therapy, that's what I do. Physical therapy, somewhat. We would put that into moderate activity as long as it's, taxing your heart. That's what's important, Katie. Yoga or dance. Okay, that doesn't surprise me, Kelsey. When it stops being, if it only would stop being gross outside, yeah, Anya, that's for sure. But hey, we can do exercise inside. You don't have to go outside to work out. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand the need for going outside, but it's not crucial. Okay. 40-minute walks, yeah, that's good. That's what, couple of miles, yeah. Jogging. Anybody do any boxing, kickboxing, martial arts? Lots of squats. Yeah, Olivia, yeah, definitely. That's something you can do inside too. And a good part of a HIIT exercise, set of HIIT exercises. So high intensity interval training, HIIT. Very good. Stephanie used to do karate. Okay. Lots of walking and home workouts. Incorporating time under tension for the gains. The gains. Yeah. Bro, do you lift? Bro, do you even lift? Bro. Get those gains, bro. All right. So if you've seen a previous like review stream, either last semester or earlier this semester, behind my green screen I've got a rowing machine. It's all right. It's sort of bottom tier rowing machine, so it's fairly rigid. There's not a lot of fluidity that you would get with like Nordic track rowing machine that's like rope based or something. It says a piston, so it's a little more simple. Okay, Logan, that's very good. I've got a over in the other corner of the basement, I've got a sand-filled punching bag. I haven't been working out over the last couple of weeks because of my 2 rounds of stomach bug, so I gotta get back into it next week. I'm sure, David, I'm sure you learned some appropriate skills. Yeah. Very cool, very cool. And then I will do, I have like a couple of little 7-minute exercise apps that I do. So yeah, BJJ, exactly. That's some good stuff. Okay, so physical activity. Okay. Body movement. And we're specifically talking about skeletal muscles here. Which are different from any other muscles in your body. So you have smooth muscle, which is essentially your digestive system, moving food through your donut hole, and your cardiac muscles, which are again different from your skeletal muscles. So we're going to be specifically talking about skeletal muscles, and the other component of physical activity requires energy expenditure. Which isn't hard. So these 2 definitions are not hard to reach, or these 2 components of the definition are not hard to reach. Physical activity happens to just be a thing if you are moving, right? So if you're sedentary all day, you're obviously not engaging in too much physical activity. But what we're going to focus on for the most part here is the physical exercise part. And here are all the health benefits. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they are quite good. They are quite good. But we're gonna focus on this exercise part. So the planned part of it, okay, the repetitive part of it, and the purposeful part of it. Okay, so planned, repetitive, and purposeful is exercise. Okay. And then the fitness part. So at the very beginning of the semester, we talked about what well-being was, what fitness is, and just like what is overall health, right? And so this is pretty important. So regular exercise. So exercise here, exercise here. Physical activity does not give you these health benefits. Okay. And so with increases, that's the good thing. With decreases, that's also good, but it's decreasing the bad stuff. So increasing good stuff, decreasing bad stuff. I noticed that nobody said that they exercise to reduce the effects of long-term illness, but here you can see decreases risk of some cancer, improves immune system functions. A lot of people don't think about these things with respect to exercise, but it does. Your immune system loves you for exercising and can reduce risk of chronic illnesses. So maintaining exercise may help you in the long run, right? Okay. So here are the exercise zones. So this is where you sort of bring the moderate activity to intense activity and give them definitions. Okay. So we're going to talk about these two. Okay. Let's talk about this chart first before I describe the differences in exercise. So moderate activity. Okay, moderate activity. And you can kind of see that if you were going to be doing more intense workouts, then this is a warm-up zone. But that 30 minutes, 5 days a week is in this region here. And you can see this chart is by age, and this chart is the percentage of your baseline beats per minute. So your resting beats per minute, how much more, and there's Ellie right on cue, how much more your beats per minute need to be. So most of you are around this 20 to 25 mark here. So the moderate activity that you are looking for, whether it be your walk or something else, so that 5 days a week, 30 minutes or so, you should be sustaining somewhere around 100 beats per minute. Allie, baby, I can't help you right now. Okay, so great. So 100 beats per minute is the target that you should be looking for. Now, I would imagine many of you, when you're walking, your average walking heart rate is probably around 90, but maybe somewhere up to 100. So if you have the ability to track your heart rate and you want to actually see whether or not you're getting those 100 minutes in, okay, here comes Ellie. Ellie, baby, I'm teaching. What's up? Okay, I'm teaching, baby. Hi. Can you go back upstairs for me? Thank you. If your walking rate is 90 beats per minute, then try maybe increasing the pace with which you walk, and that way you can everyone's saying hi to you. Oh, me? Yeah. Oh, you increase it to 100, but walking really serves this purpose. So 30 to 40 minutes 5 days out of the week, that should be good. Now, everything else, intensity is everything else. Everything else. Now, you are doubling. This is 100% of your baseline. So this is doubling your heart rates. That's your the maximum amount of beats per minute your heart can pump oxygen through your body. If your heart rate goes above what your VO2 max is, you're probably going to die. Anyways, what you should be hitting here is around here if you want to get that 75 minutes of intense activity in. So let's talk about the two exercise distinctions. Aerobic exercise is light to moderate, and then as well as cardio training here. Cardio training. Anything above, by the way, anything that's above this weight control level will also be fat burning. So most of these will also be fat burning if you do them for long periods of time. But the reason these two, or this specifically doesn't say fat burning, is depends on how long you do it for. Okay, so fitness training and weight control, this is the target range that you want to sort of live in right here. Okay. But so aerobic activity. Aerobic is defined by the ability of your muscles, your skeletal muscles, to convert oxygen for energy. So that's what aerobic activity is. That's what aerobic activity means. You are consuming large gasps of air and expelling large gasps of air. So you are exchanging a large quantity of oxygen for a large quantity of carbon dioxide. Your muscles are using that oxygen in order to get you to move. So a lot of breathing and a fast heart rate, okay? However, there comes a point when your muscles cannot consume oxygen efficiently enough, and so they will use stored ATP in order to move your muscles, right? And so this is called anaerobic. So anaerobic means the absence of oxygen. So this is stored energy in your skeletal muscles to move those muscles, okay? And weight training and sprinting, very hard effort tends to be anaerobic, okay? So we put swimming and running and bike riding in one group, and then weightlifting and sprinting and maximum effort training in another group. And it just depends on how your muscles are using that oxygen. So how physically active are you? Well, the first thing that you need to consider when you answer this question for yourself is your basal metabolic rate. And I believe I mentioned this on Wednesday when we were talking about sleep. So this is your baseline. I am completely at rest caloric burning. Okay, this is your metabolic rate for being completely at rest while you are awake, not while you are sleeping. Okay, so 50-70% of your total energy is through cell and vital organ functioning. Okay, 7 to 10% is digestion, and then the rest is by just moving your body. So your basal metabolic rate. And this value is expressed in calories, okay? This value is expressed in calories. Now, a calorie is the amount of energy needed to increase a gram of water 1 degree Celsius, metric system. So it's the amount of energy needed to raise 1 gram of water 1 degree of Celsius. The energy amount is in joules because the metric system. And so we express that as a calorie. So the amount of joules it takes to make 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius warmer. Okay, so that's what a calorie is. Now you'll see that I have this. This is technically supposed to be a lowercase calorie. Lowercase c calorie. The calories that you actually consume, oh my goodness, Murphy just ate the head off of Ellie's giraffe. This is going to be part of the stream.
I just found it in her room. The giraffe did not survive.
I have no brain. I don't know what I do.
How's that for a health?
Okay, this is what happens when you don't exercise. A dog eats your brain. It's actually inside out. That's so funny.
Yeah, he like ate the innards.
It's also really gross and wet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Murphy just
Cool.
did that, so.
Good times.
Cool, yeah. Oh, that's so gross. That's
Good
sad.
times. So there's no dull moments in the Swan household, that's for sure.
Hang on, baby.
All right, so the calories that you eat are capital C calories, and they actually are kilocalories. So you on Monday when we were talking about the advertisement that had the 2,000 calories a day, that's actually kilocalories. So 1,000 of these, and so technically you are consuming 2 million calories a day if you follow the percent daily value. It's actually 2 million calories. But because the amount of energy is so small to change 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius, why put 2 million on a food packet? So let's shorten it. And so that's technically capital C. So this definition is little c calorie. But of course, when I do bullet points, I suppose I could have changed it. I'm not going to change it now. Just know that this definition is calorie, not kilocalorie. Okay. Rip giraffe. Okay. So the basal metabolic rate is expressed in calories. So that's how many calories that you need to maintain the activity level at rest. And so if you want to lose weight, then you should be consuming less than your BMR, but not too much less, because then that's on the level of starving yourself. And starving yourself does not decrease in a healthy way to maintain weight, but you kind of partial in. So that's why, on Monday we're going to talk about nutrition and how you spread out that BMR calories in order to lose weight. But if you actually want to gain weight and perhaps gain muscle mass, then you should be consuming more calories than your BMR. And if you do a lot of physical activity, then you should be consuming your more calories than your BMR, because you're destroying the amount needed for cell use, 50 to 70% here for cell use. So it's pretty important you maintain that. You can go to an online calculator to calculate your BMR. It's not going to be super accurate, but it'll at least give you a ballpark at what your BMR needs to be. You put in your age, you put in your current weight, you put in your gender, because there are different BMRs for men and women, and it'll calculate it for you. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Logan, for answering Stephanie's question there. Those were reasons. Those are good reasons. Good reasons to gain weight. Yeah, for sure. All right. So, we said 30 minutes 5 days a week, or 75 minutes from the vigorous activity. So that's from the World Health Organization back in 2015. These have not changed in the last 5 years. If you want additional health benefits, then increase your moderate to 300 minutes per week. 300 minutes is 5 hours. I don't know why I said 6 hours. 5 hours of training a week. So instead of 30 minutes, make it an hour. Muscle strengthening, doing major muscle groups at a time. So leg day. You've probably heard people talking about, hey, it's my leg day. So that's how you do additional health benefits. And doing aerobic exercise to help your ticker. Okay. So more higher intensity aerobic exercise or weight-bearing aerobic exercise. So maybe if you want to give yourself a challenge, get yourself some ankle weights, go on a walk with your dog. The added weight on your ankles will increase the amount of effort that you need to do to walk. Okay. For the gains, Caitlin. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So physical fitness has to do with individual differences and characteristics of people. Okay. So how much muscle mass and muscle strength you have, your muscular endurance, how long your muscles can handle being contracted. Okay. Flexibility. Okay. For those of you who are doing yoga, you're probably working on that. And body composition. So what body shape you have. So how tall you are, how short you are, how broad you are, how slim you might be, where any sort of adipose tissue might be collecting on your body. So that has to do with how physically fit you might be. So you can imagine that a physically fit person has good muscle strength for their muscle tone. So how much muscle you have versus how much you can engage them. A physically fit person would be able to have high muscle endurance. That means their muscles are storing more ATP in order to do anaerobic activity. A physically fit person would be more flexible, and body composition tends to be leaner for any body shape. Okay, but not, and I mean leaner in the sense that the tissue that you have on your skeletal system is lean muscle that is not surrounded by any sort of visceral or fatty tissue. Okay, great. So I mentioned VO2 Max. Not one of my students, so I'm gonna move on. Is important for physical fitness as well. It's how much oxygen that your heart can pump under any given physical strain. Okay, so your VO2 is that ability. Okay. You can see by this guy who's running on the treadmill, he's got a mask on because it's also measuring how much air your lungs can take in. Okay. All right, play for keep. Sorry, you gotta be. You can't. Thank you. You gotta measure your heart, your blood vessels, and your lungs. Okay. If for some reason you're undergoing extreme amounts of physical exercise, you need the ability to convert oxygen as fast as possible. Okay. I know for a fact when I haven't exercised for a while, mostly moving up the stairs is pretty rough. You get winded. So if you ever do an activity and you get winded, it's because your VO2 is not performing, is not high. Okay, it requires some additional training. Okay. Now, you can get your own. You can get your own setup like this guy has. You can get your own setup. They're expensive, obviously, but if you do need to measure it, then yeah, it's generally speaking going to be in a clinical setting for sure. So yeah, if you really want to tax your body, then I recommend 45 minutes of aerobic activity. 45 minutes. I used to do at the Krav Maga studio that I went to in Santa Barbara while I was a grad student. They had these combat cardio classes. Oh man, 45 minutes of just non-stop activities related to fighting. So we ran, we jogged, we would get our pads and we would roll around with them. We would be punching them. We would just constantly be moving. It is a ridiculous exercise. If you also want to take up some sort of boxing or kickboxing, I do recommend Bas Rutten. He's a famous Muay Thai and UFC fighter, mixed martial arts fighter. He has a what are they called? Timed things where Baz will just call out boxing techniques and you have to do them, and it's like you do 2-minute rounds, 30 seconds rest, 2-minute round, 30-second rest. So you keep doing that, and it's like 16 minutes long or something like that. And then the last example that I was going to make is CrossFit. CrossFit, any sort of CrossFit exercise plan, and there are plenty of CrossFit. Apps and programs that you can download for free. Stephanie, CrossFit is high intensity interval training. So with the Bas Rutten thing that I was mentioning, the boxing, so you do 2 minutes of just nonstop boxing combos on a bag, and then you get 30 seconds rest, and then you do 2 minutes again. So that's high intensity interval training. So the intervals are the 2 minutes, 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off, 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off, and they're high intensity because you don't stop during the on interval. Okay, so that's fun. Okay. Weight control is definitely one aspect of exercise. So the more you work out, the less your brain will send out the hormone ghrelin, which will reduce your appetite, because ghrelin tells your stomach to start growling, to start giving you hunger pains. So it comes from the brain, and it's like, hey, I am hungry. So it's the chemical messenger that says I'm hungry. More exercise means less ghrelin, which means less hunger. Okay. After you do an aerobic exercise, there is less peptide tyrosine, PYY. Again, appetite reduction, so you're less hungry. Okay. And then self-reports. So not only is this endocrine evidence, but there's also self-report, which obviously comes from the endocrine response. People are like, yeah, I have less ghrelin, I have less PYY, so of course I'm less hungry. Okay. Chronic illness protection I mentioned. None of you selected that on the poll, but that's okay. Because it's increasing your physical strength, with that increase, you get increased bone density, which will increase your osteoporosis. I meant decrease your osteoporosis risk, right? So who cares about milk? Why need milk when you can just exercise and increase your bone density? Okay, more effective use of the calcium you take in from other foods. You don't necessarily need to drink milk if you don't want to drink milk. I don't drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant, so there's no calcium benefit for me, and also, the digestive issues that come from that. All right, let's get back on track. Is the decline actually the white blood cells? Yes. Yeah. You're welcome, Taylor. That I appreciate that. That's great. I appreciate that. It's so your white as you age, Logan, do decline just in general, which means that you are going to have issues with getting sicker more often. So those age-related declines are semi-reverse. Okay. Thanks, Boner Man. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate that. Sometimes you just got to deal with issues. It is what it is. This isn't forever. And I like streaming like this. I like streaming on Twitch, and it's good. So we're just gonna keep doing it. And I have the tools to turn it down. So yeah, we'll get through it. It's all good. All right. What else did I want to say? Alrighty. Psychological well-being. Of course, this is a health psych class, right? So exercise boosts mood, and one way that it boosts mood is by increasing your endorphin levels. Okay, and endorphins are supposed to reduce your pain. So increasing endorphins, which are kind of like your own opioids that you make. So if you're going to increase your own opioids, I hope nobody has ever done like heroin, but the kind of euphoria that you feel from doing an opioid like that our body makes our own. And so improved mood comes from exercising. Essentially, your body's like, dude, why did you just break my knees from all the running that you did? It puts wear and tear in your body, and so in order to reduce all the pain that comes from that, you release your own endorphins, sort of minimize how that feels, and the byproduct, the side effect, is that you feel good, which, is good, because then you see things in a different light, okay? And the buffering hypothesis, which we talked about with stress, also does apply here. Exercise does fit that buffering hypothesis, where the exercise itself forms a buffer between how you engage with stress, anxiety, and depression. Added benefit is that exercise makes you tired, and it will exhaust you to a point. If you do good high intensity training, it will exhaust you to the point that you decide to go to sleep. And sleeping effectively will then help you reduce the anxiety and depression aspects. So exercise, I don't want to say that it's like a cure-all here for your psychological well-being, but it is a really big component of it, okay? And then as you get older, exercise does seem, this is just a correlation, does seem to increase cognitive functioning. So staying active as you get older is really important, which will then help reduce the risk of dementia or Alzheimer's. It will not get rid of those genetic links to dementia and Alzheimer's, so you still have to contend with that if those two things are found in your family history, but at least staying active is a good way to sort of mitigate those effects moving forward. And the other thing that I wanted to mention about psychological well-being is that increased exercise and physical exercise does seem to boost development and activity in the prefrontal cortex, which over here I want to point out over here, increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, which makes it a good candidate for using to increase inhibition, impulse control, what did I want to say? Planning, that sort of thing. So, and emotional regulation, as I have on the slide there. So less just like breaking breaking into like bursting of tears or screaming in anger, that sort of thing. So exercise does tend to lead to better emotional regulation. There we go. All right. Now, I mentioned metabolic syndrome. It's METS, M-E-T-S. Okay. This is a syndrome, so it's a cluster of effects. And this is the last thing that we'll talk about today. We'll finish these slides up on Monday before we jump into nutrition and obesity. So this is a cluster of conditions. Increased blood pressure, high blood sugar level, which is dangerous for developing type 2 diabetes, especially as you get older. Abdominal obesity, so that is that visceral adipose tissue that surrounds your core. Low HDL cholesterol, remember that's the good cholesterol, and so METS is characterized by this being a low number underneath the value that you need. So if you were to get a test, if you were to get a blood test, and then high triglycerides, which are not fat soluble and they are not water soluble, so they'll just stick around in your blood and start clotting it. And so if you have high triglycerides, this is bad for overall cardiovascular health because you might end up with atherosclerosis, clogs in your arteries, which could lead to coronary heart disease or stroke, right? I think, and then I had a couple more things, and then y'all, we're going to be done. If you do have to head out because you have a class at noon, toodly-doo. Thanks for sticking around. For METS, for you to be diagnosed with METS, you need to have these symptoms together, okay? Like I said, increased risk for heart disease, stroke, diabetes. Yeah, so you can see all of those there. And like I said, we will finish these slides up on Monday before we jump into nutrition and obesity. There's only a few things left, but thanks for everyone for stopping by and participating in chat. I do appreciate the kind words after we got rated by some children. So yeah, have a good one and enjoy your weekend. Try to get out, even though it's kind of be raining. Maybe get out when there's a break in the rain. Otherwise, bye.